So it's Wednesday. I'm starting this video on a Wednesday, and the reason is we haven't had much to do. Monday we had some pipes in for blasting. It's only me and staying, so we done the pipes. Well, Steve done the pipes. And yesterday David was back in, but so what we did is we had to deliver the fire bars. So David went up and delivered the fire bars, also dropping off all the aluminium keys that we had done. Because I told the customer Monday I couldn't take them because it was only me and staying. And Monday I actually finished early. It was unfortunately for me, I'm an Everton fan, and I went to the Everton match. No words have to be said. Was it a penalty, wasn't a penalty? It's a big debate. I don't really know. I don't know anymore. Football's not the same, is it? But too many rules. And rules are rules, do you know what I mean? It's like health and safety, not pain. But yeah, that's me being real. But today, obviously, so yesterday, obviously David went up there, done them deliveries. We had bits in for shop blasting, so a fella had actually been doing, he was sanding his gate. He spent all day Monday doing it. Went to somewhere yesterday, screw fix, he said, spent another 20 quid on bits to remove the paint. Someone told him about us. So he's come to us, we've blasted the gates, give him a price which he was happy with, and we've done. Could take us, what, 2 hours, I'd say, which is a lot less than a full day, isn't it? So they are done, which are these ones here. So they are all now complete. We've got another set of gates in. Obviously we've still got all these ones here. Need to ring in because that is the job that's been there for months. So they'll probably be sat here for another 6 months with them. They're still here. Spoke to them, waiting on a payment because you've got to, haven't you? So they're hostage still. Got another set of railings in with a gate. Got to blast them as well. Want them today. But that's shop blasting. But we have got some moulding in. So I said the other day about a fella coming down, and we've got to, I don't know if I mentioned it properly, but we've got to make him a coin. So it's for the museum. It's an old coin. They've made, so they've got an exhibition on in the museum. So we're going to so the coin's bigger than the old one, so it's from like the 1700s or something, he said. One was found in Chester, one was found elsewhere. Obviously in the Liverpool area, well, Merseyside area, should we say, roughly. I know Chester's not, but you know what I mean. So they were going to 3D print them, which they 3D printed the pattern, but the museum said they needed more like metal, to have that metal feel. So I'll show you what the 3D printers looks like. So here's the first one. So it come in yesterday. So they have took a scan off the original coin and enlarged it. So this is, and then this is 3D printed. It's a very fine 3D printer. I think he goes to, I think it's 0.4 of a mil. And then he's painted it, and then obviously, so yesterday when he come, we said to him, I went, wow, the edge is extremely undercut. And what I mean by undercut is, see this bit here, for example. So when that's in the mould, let me see if I can do this. When that's in the mould and you pull that out, that's going to get pulled out in the sand. So that is no good. So David has been filling bits around the outside. For example, there where it was undercut, see where it's white and not grey. So we had to put a bit of filler on. Because we don't want to really touch the outside of the edge, because obviously you touch, as soon as you touch that with the grinder or a flap disc, it'll look different. And that's not what we want. So that's the first one. This is the next one. It is meant to be a horse. It looks more like a chicken. I think they're meant to be the legs. And that's the head, supposedly. A lot thicker than the other one. Not as undercut, but still got undercuts down this edge. So it's been filled there. There's an undercut there. There's quite a lot of undercuts. This edge doesn't look too bad. But yeah, so we've got to make them. Straightforward as terms of casting wise. Plonk it in the box. Fill the sand in. Turn it over. Put another layer of sand in. Take it out. And that's it. And then cast it. We will run these on the back. Yeah, so we'll get a better finish on that side because we'll run them that way up, so that'll be the bottom. And then you'll have a flat top, run it and rise it. So, didn't know what materials, so we've given price in variety of materials to use. Obviously, bronze, families, do you know, material. That is probably the most likely to be the same as what it is. However, the price is a lot more than what other materials would be. So, and it's for the museum. So, it's one of them. Also, the weight of it will be a lot heavier. It's going on an MDF wall. And then obviously they've got to try and secure it, which they want us to drill and tap in the back, which I've said I'll drill and tap in the centre, nowhere, and one. If I do two, it'll probably sit on the wall wrong, and I don't know how it's going to sit. Use some sort of adhesive to stick it on. So, doing that in bronze is probably not the best option. So, we're going to do them in aluminium, and that's what we agreed on. It's lightweight, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's going on the wall. They don't know what they're going to do. They're going to paint it. They don't know. He's took a piece home because he's seen a video about putting it in hot boiling water, and it patinates it. Yeah. So you can always polish the top of the aluminium. Do you know what I mean? And then have the rest dull, which would look quite nice, to be fair. So yeah. So we're going to make them in aluminium. Obviously it is extremely lightweight compared to bronze and iron, and with it going on an MDF wall, I think that's probably the best option. So yeah, we've got them to make, realistically that's all we've got to make. Jobs in the pipeline, pricing up, got to price some more up now. So yeah, that's really it. So we're going to mould them. I ain't going to show you the way we mould them because they're straightforward. It's not really the best job to show you, do you know what I mean? I don't really want to show boring jobs, I want to show like good jobs, detailed jobs. Things that I've actually got a bit of proper moulding in. Obviously, it is moulding, don't get me wrong, but like, not the way the modern mould is just fill boxing, the way that is. It's not really interesting to see, in my opinion. Obviously, put in the comments if you would rather just see that. Let me know what's more interesting to you, because what it's interesting to me, obviously I do this job every day, is completely different. Help us grow the channel, you know what I mean, by letting me know, oh, this is good to see, this is not good to see. Just little tips, or you would have liked to see how that was moulded. Because straightforward jobs like that, I just don't see the point in really showing you. I'd rather show you something that's got a bit of proper moulding in, where you got to joint it up, where you got to do this, you got to do that. Yeah, sort of style. Yeah. Onwards and upwards. Let's carry on. Well, you probably thinking, what have I been up to? I've been editing last week's video. Takes me a while. I'm not very good at it. But we'll get there. So let's go. So, it is, what day is it? Thursday? Why am I in the office and starting a video in the office? It's because, first of all, the coins that we were making, the Roman coins for the museum piece, they're done. And they're next to me in the office because they're done. So we cast them yesterday and we also finished them off. So let's have a look. So we've got both of them here. We've got the one that looks like a chicken but it's meant to be a horse, which is this one. And then we've also got this one. So when I was asking about the designs, he said, what does it mean in the designs? And he said, do we use like an art piece? The hair symbols, something, because obviously very detailed on the hair. Obviously it's more enhanced now because it's larger, but that's probably the best one out of them two, in my opinion. But they've come out sound, so we've drilled and tapped the backs with a little 10mm bolt because it's going on an MDF wall, so at least that'll have a bit of something to sit with. It's not the greatest because obviously you can't go in too far, because if we drill too far, we drill straight through the casting. As well, the gearboxes in LG4 and lids were done the week I wasn't here, so last week sort of video. I wasn't here, so lads have done them, and machine shop's now machining them, and they're next to me, so we'll have a look at them as well. So here they are, all done, all machined. We have the lids on the backs, looks lovely. That's the front face. Then we'll have a little gander at the gearbox. Let's just skim that edge. So there's the inside, done. And obviously we've got the outside, we've got the holes, and then obviously there's drill and tapped in there as well. Couple of lovely castings ready to go out. Spoke to the customer, knows they're ready, so whenever he comes down, oh no, he comes to the house to collect these. It's our little deal. Yeah, so they're all done as well. We've actually got a customer coming today, to do with, he got in touch, he got recommended because he's got some, I think he got in touch for shop blasting, but he's got some brass door plates and brass knobs, but they've been painted, excuse me, so they've been painted and he wants them back to the original. So he's gonna come down. I'm unsure, because obviously we can blast them either with our little sandblaster or the shop blaster, but obviously that's going to create a rough surface. So I don't know what type of finish he wants. I don't know if he wants a polish finish, I don't know. I'm a bit unsure, so I was looking like yesterday and looking at different things, and like softer blast. Obviously the sand one's good for us for cleaning up little bronze and aluminium castings, cleaning them up, but it creates a dull finish. The shop will create a rough finish, a lot more pit dinted. So I'm unsure. So I was just saying, I was having a look online at different things, and I've come across the AccuBlast water blasting systems, and I really like the look of them. I think it might be something maybe to add to ourselves, more for like car parts and cleaning up and blasting them. Obviously castings is our main focus, but blasting sort of ties us over. We do a lot, do you know what I mean? So that's more business to consumer, which I think I need to look at. I keep saying to me, our fella and David, business is great because you get big orders and good quantities, but business to consumer can tie us over and make us more longevity, I think the word is. So the AccuBlast, what that is, it's water and a garnet. I think it's, I don't know what the garnet was. So obviously the water's mixed in with it, so it's less abrasive. But for aluminium, it cleans them up and it gives them a nice polish. It degreases things, and I don't know, I've not seen anyone do it on bronze or brass, or the part of that family. But I was thinking that might be, I wonder if that'll work. So I'm quite unsure, but quite interested in it. I'm to the point where I want to go and get one. ADHD, I buy impulses things. They're not cheap, don't get me wrong, and I wouldn't buy the basic one. I'd have to buy the top of the range one, because just cause it's bigger, and if it's bigger, yeah, you can do little things in, but you can also do bigger things in. I don't see a point in buying a little one, and if it's no good, I could just sell it. But it looks quite cool. Completely different to the way shot blaster is. It's a cabinet based. Yeah, so it might, because because we do a lot of little things for blasting, and sometimes when the big blasters going, I always think, oh, we need something else to double it up so we can get things done quicker and get things out quicker. And obviously the more you do, the more you can earn, do you know what I mean? So you can take more workload on. You can keep the big blaster for bigger things like gates and railings, and because that's steel shot and that strips off paint extremely well. If it's fresh metal like the wagon parts, it doesn't have to really be. Do you know what I mean? It's just cleaning, giving it a textured surface so the paint takes better to it. At the end of the day, you got to prep a surface. We see people just paint straight over steel all the time, and if your surface isn't prepped, it doesn't take. And that's basic, innit? It's like wood, you sand it down before you paint it. You do things to it. You just got to prep a surface. Cars, you sand cars first before you can just paint them. You've got to prep that surface, any grime, any grease, and that's obviously that's what's so good with the shots. Do you know what I mean? It cleans everything up. If it is fresh and it's got welds, it cleans all the welds up. If it's old, it shows any damage marks, shows if there's any cracks in welds, it shows everything. Do you know what I mean? So it is great, it is good, it does its purpose. But that Accublast really got me interested, because I want a little cabinet, but like a good one, something that's got a bit of power. Our little thing's not very good, to be fair, but it's got to have a bit of power behind it. And that Accublast looks quite interested, and I was thinking, well, obviously in terms of steel it might go rusty, but it comes with built-in airline, so you blow all the water off quick enough, it shouldn't really go rusty, because obviously it's surface rust. So you dry it, a bit like a car. So that's something really that's quite interesting to me. If you've got one or you've used one, let us know in the comments. Would you recommend one? Ideally it's got to be someone who makes them in Britain, manufactured in Britain. Straightforward, keeping it British, helping British manufacturers out. To me, that's what it's about. Showing why our country is so great in manufacturing and engineering and all that ding dang do. But yeah, that's mainly it. We haven't got no moulding to do, and it's not very good, don't get me wrong. But we need some work. If you got any castings you want me to send them over. We got digs in the pipeline, got prices up in the pipeline, but pricing lots of jobs. But if you don't get the job, you don't get the job. At the end of the day, you got to be competitive. But at the end of the day, you've also got to make money, so you can't do nothing for free. But it is what it is. So that's why I've sort of going back. I've took this sort of bronze cleaning up job on. It's not something really I do, because I can see which way it's going to go. He's going to want them shiny. So see how we get on. Onwards and upwards. Let's go. So it's Friday, the last day of the week, and where are we up to? So the other day we had a customer come and said, is there anything you can do with this? Saves me machine in a big block. Is there anything you can do with this? It does save me machine in a big block. So we brought us a casting that was in two. We looked at it and we said, I can't make it as how the original is, but I'm sure we can have a go. So he was a machine shop, so I asked him, said, roughly how much would it cost to machine out of a block? Because that's what we see a lot of days. And got a price, so we were like, right, I reckon I can do it a lot cheaper than that, making a casting working off a broken one. So we've got the job. It will not be exactly the same as what the original one was, because we can't get it all, but I'll show you and I'll tell you why. So it is the job. And we can see it's got daylight all the way through. It wasn't two, but we did say you're gonna have to weld it for us so that we can, so it lines up to where it needs to be. We can see it is 1 millimetre thick and it is quite sharp here. So we said, right, you want us to work off this? We can do it. So we won't be able to get this groove, which they said, right, that's fine. So we will make this bit solid. I'll probably have to fill this in with something. Because obviously, the way we're going to have to do it is we won't make it that way. Because you can't get this bit out of the mould. But if we make it the other way, and we make these solid, they're easily drilled out for them. We can have machining onto here. But the most trickiest part is the other side. So let me turn it over and I'll tell you why. So as we can see, the inside is cone shape. And you can see where it's gone. So this is actually housing an impeller. And obviously the impellers come loose, the bearings have come loose, and it's dug everything out. There's grooves all the way along. So we're going to have to do a bit of prep maybe to this. However, this has to be skimmed. So, obviously we're going to have to beef the walls up anyway, so we don't really have to thingy, to be honest with you. Because we need to add more sand, take more sand off our mould to add more metal on, so it can be skimmed. And as we always say, you can take it off, but you can't add it back on once it's cast. And in reference, I mean in the metal. We've also got to add machining onto here. So the original one is just here. That's where the original casting would have been. Thickness of the wall is just where my finger is, which is, I'd say, about 5mm thickness of this wall here. Obviously this does also have a groove added in, which that must be really thin there as well. So we've got to make that. So obviously how we're going to do it is obviously we're going to make our own court that sits in there using this. And then we won't make it that way, we'll turn it so it's more that way. Let me show you which way I mean. I don't want to break it because it is welded together. So we'll make it that way. Does that make sense? And then we can pull it out. Oh, that's how I'd make it. David's going to do this anyway, and I'll tell you why. But as I said, David's going to be doing that. David's very good at moulding, don't get me wrong. If anyone can mould things, it's him. But the reason why is I've got a shootout. We actually got the phone call. So, you know the aluminium keys? And I said in last week's video is that I went up there and he was only giving me one, and I went, no, I've got to take two, at least two. So I done one, David done one. So there was 4 there at the time, so he said he was going to do the two others. Which, alright, sound. Would they get them as good as ours? No, 100% not. And that's not me being big-headed, it's that they don't do castings, the lad isn't a moulder. It's not... Don't get me wrong, a lot of it looks easy and a lot of it looks simple, but there's so much more to it, and there's so much more that can go wrong. You see the odd people online nowadays doing little things, and they do open castings, and open castings are crap, don't get me wrong, I hate them, don't see the point in them. You get horrible, the metal bubbles, and it looks crap. Unless that's what you got to do and that's what the customer wants, yeah, you'll do it. But anyway, so he rang me yesterday, and how are you getting on for time? Hey, what have you got on? So I said, not got much, right? So he said, how quick can you do me another set at 40 keys? I said, a couple of days. Obviously gives us enough time. We've got to mould them, we've got to cast them, we've got to fet them, realistically. 4 days max, which is just a week. Obviously, Monday, not here, so as it'll be bank holiday. But that sounds, so I said, why, what have you done? The ones I've made? And he wasn't really telling me. And then he rang me back. I said, because I said, yeah, you make the calls so I don't have to make them. Because it just slows me down. All I want to do is make the boxes, do you know what I mean? It's the same price. That he knows, it's just easier for me. He says, he's got too much to do in there on the other side and can't have the lads doing the moulding. So I said, well, what happens? He says, well, you know the core? I said, yeah. He says, well, it's now solid. And I went, you what? So it's now solid. So what they've done is they've had the metal too hot. They've cast it and it's set into the core, and the core's gone rock hard, and once you can't get it out, do you know what I mean? So, and you fucking, which is typical. I wouldn't mind, we cast them alley jobs the other day as well, so I could have done it with them. But it is what it is. So, I'm going to go up there this morning. I'm going to go and grab them patterns. While I'm up there, I'm going to grab some concrete. And let me tell you why. So yesterday we didn't have much to do, did we? We did get some pipes in that we had to blast. So we done all of them. But there was one thing that's really annoying us. When we're driving in the yard on the stacker, we got holes. And the stacker bounces. Doesn't have suspension. I don't know if any stackers, I don't know. Well, ours doesn't anyway. So what we done, we identified the holes that we wanted to fill. Some of them were huge. Obviously all the dust and the dirt in the yard, they fill the holes in as well. But when you're driving and it bounces, it's annoying, and if you've got something on a pallet, it can bounce off and it just does our heads in. So we cut the holes out and we started to fill them. So we got 6 bags of toughened concrete. And we'll just get 6. See how we get on. Let me show you what we got done. We've got to make sure the dog doesn't step in it. So, we had this big one, which was like a joint. It was like that, but it was all open. And when we have the wagons in here for pipes, this is our main track for loading it. And you always fall in. So, we dug it all out and we filled it. So that hole, we've only gone an inch thick, do you know what I mean? We've not really gone thick. But that hole has took 4.5 bags. And then we've got another hole that's already cut out and ready to go. But I've obviously run out of bags. So obviously we cut it to square. Realistically, probably because I've got all this and I've got this big hole. So I was like, well, we need to cut that out to do it properly. But it is what it is. And then we also had this little hole. We've got this big one to cut out, as I've just said. But look at that. It's not even concrete, it's tarmac. So we've obviously got hardcore, and then we've got tarmac on top. Obviously it doesn't look like tarmac, it's orange. Obviously rust in that. But yeah. And then obviously that's not too bad. This little one's a nightmare as well. Because a couple of years ago, we've done all of this. And mine's been a couple of years ago, I'm saying a lot longer than that. So, we actually done them. Done all of this. This patch is big. It would be back in, what did it was? I'm gonna say 2008. What's that? 17 years ago, 8 years ago. I'm saying that far, and it doesn't seem that long ago. But realistically, when I'm thinking it's got to be this long ago, it's because they had the digger in, and I knew the digger was in, and I was in primary school at the time, and I went. So I actually had a day off school, which I said I was sick when obviously I wasn't, because I wanted to come down and have a go at the digger. So I know this was in. This was around then because I was still in primary school, so I don't even know what year you leave primary school nowadays. I wasn't very good at school, that's why I work in a foundry. But yeah, I had the digger, so I come down, had a little go, as you do. It was that long ago, health and safety can't do nothing now. Yeah, and obviously I was with my granddad, and I was driving it, and he was like, "You're better than your old fella," which is always true. I'm always better than him. So yeah, realistically we should do a big patch, a bit like that. But that's a lot of money, and we haven't got. I can't afford just to start ripping the ground off to just do big patches. This was little emergency patches that we need, which will help save the forklift as well, because obviously you don't want it to start damaging everything. And this little patch here. So there's a little patch here that we've sort of scored out and need to chip out. The dog's there in this patch. You see there, as we drive with the stacker, we smashed that, and it's a horrible little bouncer. Obviously this is all gone as well, like, but it is what it is, because realistically we should have done a nice... We should have, so obviously we've got the blaster here. This should be quite nice because this is like a turning circle, you know, for driving in. But obviously the blaster's all steel plated floor anyway, unless we just steel plate the whole floor. Because we just cast them. And you might be thinking, why would I just cast steel plates? Well, why would I buy them when I can just do it myself? You've got you just got a piece of 4 foot by 8 foot plywood board and just use that as your pattern. And just cast them. No, realistically, it's probably cheaper to buy it, isn't it? But I'm sure they're cast because they're SG. But yeah, so I've got to go up to St Helens now, go and pick these patterns up, get some more concrete, and get back, because we're busy again. So onwards and upwards. We're back in the workshop, or in the foundry, or whatever it's called. The workshop, the main part. So, went down and I picked the jobs up and I was speaking to them and I was looking at the jobs, the keys that they cast. They're all funny coloured as well, so I don't know what aluminium they've used. But it wasn't burnt. It was solid. And when we were looking at the pattern, we've noticed, which I've got the pattern now. When we're looking at this one here, and obviously we have the coupe print here, and on this side, there's coupe print there and there and there. And what they did, they hadn't put the core in. So, we have the coupe print on that box, which is either the bottom or the top, I haven't decided yet. And there's coupe there, print there as well. But we've also got these ones, which, that's the top, and that's my bottom. And these have only got the one core. Which look exactly like the keys that we've already done, which basically they are, but the angle of the key is slightly different. So, they're different. We also picked more concrete up. I've got 10 bags. So, they're out there cutting up. And we've also started, we've not started, we've moulded that flanged housing. While moulding it, we noticed that it was extremely offset, but we've rubbed it up, we've cleaned it up, and it's looking very good. It is in there. Done. With a runner and a riser. Also just got some wheels in to shot blast them. They are Ford XR2 wheels. So here they are. They've been painted in the past. Paint's all coming off. The aluminium's all looking rough. There is one that's got a big dent in as well, which I noticed. But we've got 4 of them, so you'll have to come next week to see how they look once we finish them. So, this is what they look like on the inside, with Steve holding it while he's doing nothing. Also had some more pipes in, which have gone out, and this absolutely, it was a resin mixer in for blasting that was used for batteries, mixer stuff for batteries. It's full of guns, full of gram, and it had to be done urgently. So we done it, and it went out. But, as I was saying, if you want to see what the wheels look like next week, because this is now at the end, so don't forget, give us a like, a comment, and a subscribe. It is much appreciated. as we carry on turning these wheels. Obviously, making Great Britain as usual, and that, to me, that's what it's about. But we'll plod along, so even if you have stayed to the end, I do appreciate it, as I've said. But follow along next week, see what happens. Paul's back, and I'm sure he'll be happy. Not. Adios.